Welcome back to our channel,
Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books,
amongst other things.
and we have a book review.
I know, right?
We knocking them out.
And this is a good one too, a goodie.
So we said in our wrap up we was gonna do a book review for Maame by Jessica. What's
George?
it? Jessica George, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing to it but to get to it. Let's get into it.
All right. So, what's it about, Kristen?
Dang. Okay. Madeline. She is a girl living in her world. She's a early 20s, mid to early 20s young lady. Just going about her life and really trying to figure her stuff out. She is the kind of caregiver in her family. She holds it down. She takes on the bulk of the responsibility for everybody. Her family dynamic is just all leaning on her. So her father, she's living with him. He has Parkinson's, and she's kind of the primary caregiver for him, even though they do have a nurse that comes and checks in on him. She wants to be heavily involved with his care because she feels like that helps with their connection and their bond, because there's some things that, you know, haven't happened over the years for her, and that's her opportunity to kind of really be with her father. She has an older brother, and he's out here doing his thing. He ain't really trying to help or whatever.
Like that.
Right. So she can't really rely on him. And her mother kind of alternates years, where she's in London, where Maddie is, and in Ghana, where her homeland, where she's kind of taking care of, you know, something that her grandparents, or Maddie's grandparents, left, you know, to her mom and her uncle. And so her mom, again, is leaning on Maddie to kind of hold the fort down, and kind of even leans on her financially and things like that. So Maddie is at a point where she's kind of like dissatisfied with her job, but kind of hanging in there. But events happen where she has to eventually find something else. She's never really lived on her own, so her mom does end up coming back to London, and Maddie gets an opportunity by her mom's nudging to move out on her own and really experience life for the first time by herself. So she has, you know, a lot of first experiences that is kind of late in the game, so she's a late bloomer, but she really wants to kind of just see what all that stuff is about. Tragedy strikes her family, so then Maddie kind of shift gears, and her guilt starts to eat her up in regards to not only just feeling responsible for her family, but now because she's moved out, she's feeling like she's responsible for the things that are happening to her family in that moment. And so it just goes into her having this kind of mental health crisis, really kind of having a time where she's struggling, and kind of how she finds her way out of that.
Good job.
Boom. All right, so what you like about the book?
Okay, so boom. I love the character development. I feel like it's the cup. I feel like these are not Prosecco cups. I feel like Maddie, we got to see, even though it wasn't like a long span of time, you really got to see some character growth with Maddie, just as far as like her, like taking care of her family, and then when she gets this opportunity to kind of go out and venture out on her own, like she's really trying to like figure it out, like trying to see, you know, she moves out, and she is that spoiler, whatever, she moves out, and she you know, she's like, she decides that she wants to, you know, be this new person. The new Maddie does this, buys new clothes, and goes out in town, and like she really, like, you know, is trying to like find herself like as a young lady. And I think from the beginning of the story to the end, like even though her at the core she's the same person, like you kind of get to see her grow in her experiences. So I really enjoyed that. What else? I enjoy the dating, the history, the romance with her, because she's inexperienced. When she's at home, of course, she doesn't really have time to date. I think she's more so of an introvert anyway, and then she doesn't really have the time to date because of, you know, taking care of her family. But when she gets out there on her own, she's dating, she's on the app, she's seeing what's new. I think that the timeline of her like dates and like her experiences kind of, it was realistic and not so, you know how like sometimes with romances or books in general, it kind of like goes off the deep end or goes from one extreme to the next. And even though she had like a situation with one guy, it didn't like cause her to go off the deep end of, you know, just relationships and with men. You know, she dealt with it and she moved on. And I think that's, you know, like how most people would. And it was nice to see that. What else? I think the author did a good job of showing her relationships with her family and her friends without having to go so much in detail with the background, like in history. Like the relationship with her brother, her mom, and her two closest friends. I think like all those were explored in a great way. You just got to see the dynamic of all those relationships that she had with each person. And I thought that it was just, Jessica did a really good job at exploring that without, because I feel like sometimes we read books and we're like, well, I wish they would have went more into this relationship with this person, or I didn't understand how these people were this close or how their relationship worked. And I think that I came away from this book knowing that, okay, like I could see like all her relationships, like see them clearly.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, like I understood it. So, and that was cool. What else?
You said
I think that's it. Yeah, I think there's nothing that I didn't like, that I hated. I'm trying to think. I know you're going to say something. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so I like the same things. I liked Maddie as a voice and a character. I think I said that in our wrap up. I think she's just a really relatable and enjoyable character to follow. Very humorous at times. So just her overall wit and just kind of how she engaged with everybody, I really enjoyed that. So yeah, she was one that you definitely wanted to root for. You wanted to see win. You wanted to see do things. And I liked her inner voice and really how it wasn't like illogical. Is that a word? Yeah. Because I have said before, I can't stand when people like have a good sound in her voice and their actions don't match. But hers kind of aligned because she was naive at moments, but she recognized she was naive, but she asks, questions. She's asking her friends, like, what should I do? Like, is this normal? And then she had moments where she was trying to, again, keep things to herself because she's trying to, again, be there for everybody else. But I think, again, like to Asia's point, that character growth and development kind of helped her vocalize some of her inner thoughts that she's thinking maybe this isn't right, but get that validation. And I just really enjoyed her choices without it being like insufferable. Like, why are you doing this? Like at the end of the day, it made sense. Some of her situations weren't ideal, but they were kind of put in front of her to like help her grow. And so, yeah, I just really enjoyed her journey. Like I said, I enjoyed just her overall dynamic. You got enough to know how everyone played a part in her life without needing necessarily that concrete information of, hey, this person, she's known since this time, and this is when they
the whole backstory on everything. But you got enough to like. You got enough
to know how the people around her impacted her, how she viewed herself, and how she kind of maneuvered through her life situation. So, yeah, I really just enjoyed the focus on really her journey in this particular book. Because sometimes I do have moments where I'm like, oh, I want to know what's going on over here. And really, I just enjoyed her. I just really enjoyed her being the center of everything. And you really not needing to be too curious. Even with her mom, you like, at the time, you like, hey, what's going on with her mama?
Right.
But then you get,
you
get enough later in the story where you're like, okay, mama.
Right.
So, let's see, what else did I enjoy? I just enjoyed the pacing of the book as well. I thought it was a well-paced book. It wasn't too much too fast. I will say, I think you could debate about just the pacing of her growth. I think I said that before, but I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it personally, but because she could have had a breakthrough moment, honestly, a little bit earlier in the book. But I think I did enjoy to see, again, just enjoyed to see her have those aha moments where it's kind of like, okay, this is weird. This is different, you know? And so, I don't know. But I can't think of anything else that you didn't say right now. And I don't have my notebooks. So. I don't even think I took notes. I think I did. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what you not like? What did you not like?
What did I not like? You gotta do it slow.
This cup is gonna attack me.
I don't know. There was something I really didn't like. I feel like everything that was kind of like, I don't know about these characters was necessary for Maddie's growth. Like her roommates per se. Like I feel like I knew like they, little spoiler, like she moved in with 2 girls, and I could tell that it wasn't going to be like oh, we're gonna be best friends. That's all I'll say about that without giving too much away. But and it's not that I didn't like those characters, but it's like you needed that, so I feel like Maddie can grow and go through those experiences. So that's not really saying what I don't like. What you mean, like, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like the author placed even the things you found undesirable in the story. I feel like they were placed with a purpose. Right. I feel like, you know, you were put off by certain characters, but in the day it was kind of like part of her journey and her growth. Yeah. Like, you know, when she started dating, that whole situation was kind of interesting. And then, like you said, with her roommates, it wasn't a bad situation, but you could tell there was some things that weren't quite clicking for her and everyone involved. And so yeah, I it's hard because I really did enjoy the book, so it is hard for me to think about what I didn't like.
I know it was something else that I did like that I didn't mention.
Wait.
And that's that. Obviously, Maddie is a Black woman and she's in London. I feel like she was surrounded by equal parts white people and Black people. But I think that the author did a good job of like not making race the focal point, but still acknowledging that like.
It adds to her identity.
Yeah, adds to her identity and her experience, like with her roommates, with her dating, but that not being the story. But I think the author did a really good job at just like kind of putting that in there without making it like, I don't want to say a huge deal because it is. I feel like it is a big deal a lot of time, but it was just nicely placed. I think
because even just on that point too, because even like about race, like she even had jokes in there. Like, for example, this is not a spoiler, but for example, someone wanted to touch her hair, and then one of her friends was like, you know, you don't touch a Black woman's hair. And so it's just like little moments like that where it's kind of like it's there, it's apparent, you know, it adds to that dynamic, but it's not, hey, this is a book deep diving race and why you know why Black women should seek out mental health services and da da da. It wasn't like a poster child for, you know, mental health. I did, and then but yeah, going back into things we like the handling of the mental health.
Mental health was a big part of it, but like you said, it wasn't like flashing lights like mental health is like so important. But it was like Maddie did struggle with, you know, certain things and being depressed, and then her parents, because we all know old generation parents, like they're like you fine, just go pray about it, girl. And it's like, no, I need to talk to somebody. So, and I love that the author kind of explored that too in the book. So yeah, that was great.
It was good. Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to find something I didn't like. Now that I'm like really trying to think about it. Yes, it has been some time since I've read it. You know, I've read so many books since then. But I think even when I did read it, I literally was like, Asia, you're gonna like this book, go ahead. And I like text her, I was like, go ahead and add it, it's on Scribes, go ahead and add it. So it's just not much you can nitpick, of course, but it's not really much you can dislike about the book. It's
Sometimes when I
enjoyable.
like a book a lot, I like to go back and look at the reviews to see who didn't like something and see
But
if I agree.
yeah, sometimes I'll click on those 1-star reviews.
Yeah, just to see like what they didn't like, and I'm like, is that good or not? Because wait, what was it, Buck or something like that? I feel like I liked that book initially, and then when I went back and I was like, oh no, yeah, y'all are right, this is wrong, this is not good.
I just told you even have to look at that.
I know.
All right, so what did you rate the book?
So I rated it 4 stars. I know, and now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, let me go back and give it 5 because it was really enjoyable. I think that sometimes it was the simplicity of the story and like kind of like the journey of the character, so you kind of feel like if you're not blown away and just feel like, oh my god, you don't give it 5 stars. Me anyway. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, like there was a lot of good to come out of that book and that I enjoyed and reflect on. So yeah, I may go back and give it 5 stars.
Say I gave it 5.
I gave it a high 4, but
I want to say I gave it 5, but again, like you, I might, if I didn't, I'll change it. But I'm almost certain I gave it 5 because at the time when I read it, I really enjoyed it. It just was a well-balanced, well-rounded book. So yeah, I'm certain I gave it a 5. I know. Would you recommend it?
I would definitely recommend it. I would recommend it to, all the readers. If you like books such as Queenie and even like Sorrow and Bliss
or Such a Fun Age.
Yeah, Such a Fun Age. Like if you enjoy things like that, I would definitely recommend this book. It's definitely in that same vein, and it was good. It was a really good read. It kept me engaged. I think that it has a lot that any different women from all backgrounds can relate to. So yeah, I would recommend it.
I recommend it too. I think again, I like to think of my friends when I think of recommendation, and I think this is something they could get into easily and really enjoy. I think it's a good book club book if you're looking for that, because it can spark conversation. So it's just, again, a well-rounded, well-balanced book. So I think it is one on the highly recommended list for me because I think, a lot of people, it speaks to a lot of people, and a lot of people could enjoy it. All right. Well, look at this.
I know, that's
book
a good one.
Book reviews. We got some coming. We should do. Let us know if there's any specific book. I don't know. We don't do too well with recommendations, but let us know if there's a specific book we've mentioned that you would like to hear a book review on. Let us know any thoughts on this particular book. Like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll be back next time. Bye.